You know, coming into today's chapter, I didn't really know what to expect, right? Half of me was on Team Gojo, the other half was on Team Hallucination. There was like a 0.1% on Team Kenjaku. Turns out that it is actually Yuta, something that I straight up did not even think about, which is crazy, right? I think this is a plot twist not too many people saw coming, and I honestly feel pretty okay with it. I hopped online to see the general consensus behind Yuta taking over Gojo's body, and it very much seems like it is split 50-50, with half the people hating this, and the other half somewhat okay, right? Because it's a Yuta W, Whenever Yuta or Hikari pop in, and they do something flashy, people go apeshit. I'm not too sure where the agendas come from, right? I don't know where Yuta versus Hikari versus Yuji first spawned, but hey, for the Yuta fans, this is massive. But then again, maybe not, because Yuta's technically going to die in like 5 minutes, but we'll talk about that. So, hopping into the chapter, we pick up where we left off last time. I don't know why I leaned back. We pick up where we left off last time, and Yuji is in the middle of ripping out Sukuna's guts, right? He's about to go in for the kill, or, the kill. And then Sukuna and Yuji both sense something emerging from the dust, and that is none other than Gojo. Gege decides to fake us out a little bit by showing us a panel of Gojo looking down like this, hiding the head stitches. And then we got Sukuna yelling, "Yo, Yuta, I underestimated your ass." And then the hair pops up and then you see the head stitches. And boy, oh boy, that is crazy. You know how people talk about last resorts, like, oh, if it comes to it, I'm gonna have to do this one thing that I never wish I would have had to done. This is it. Yuta taking over Gojo's body is a scenario that they never really wanted to play out, and it gives brand new context to Yuta watching Gojo's fight go down. People have been linking images online and stuff, drawing this connection. It wasn't me. I didn't go back and do this, but, people are pulling up the images, and the minute Gojo lost, Yuta looked morbid. And one, of course, that's because it's his sensei. It's the guy who saved his life, essentially. But two, it also means that he has to take over this guy's body if he also loses his battle against Sukuna, which is exactly what happened. It is a crazy, crazy thing. And just getting into it, we get a little bit of a flashback explaining how this all went down. And Gojo, believe it or not, was totally fine with it, right? He said, hey, I don't intend to lose to Sukuna, but if I do, you can do whatever the hell you want with my body. It doesn't matter. It's just a corpse. And that's kind of how I view it too. A lot of people are kind of upset that Gojo is being used as a tool of war. And it is, more or less sad in the grand scheme of things. But Gojo knows what he is. He knows that he is the world's strongest sorcerer. And if he loses against Sukuna, this might be the only way to actually beat him if Yuta and all the rest of the sorcerers cannot by themselves. So utilizing Gojo's body, while it is morbid and lacks humanity, that is exactly what we need from our boys right here. And it kind of goes back to what Uraume said as well. Like, hey, many sorcerers tend to nerf themselves because they hold on to their humanity. They're not willing to let it go. Yuta was willing to let it go, right? I forgot who it was. I think it's Kusakabe, but he's like, yo, that is not humane. It's not humane to take over a dead body. But Yuta's like, yo, we need to beat this guy. If Gojo can't, if I can't, if nobody around here can't, then we have to do it. At least one person in this room has to become a monster in order to take him down. He wants to follow in his sensei's footsteps, and that is exactly what he's doing. But now, here comes the big question. Will this actually work? Because, this is something that you don't exactly get to practice in the boardroom, right? There's not exactly like a Windows tutorial mode that walks you through on how to be Gojo and use his 6 eyes and use his domain expansion and all that stuff. Yes, Gojo trained him afterwards, he kind of talked to him a little bit, he's been around Gojo for so long, but that doesn't exactly mean you know how to walk in his shoes. Yuta, up until this point, has been the copycat master, right? He's used Uro's attacks, he's used, Sukuna slashes, he's used so many abilities that he's only witnessed once or twice. So naturally, I'd want to believe that he would be able to use Gojo's infinity and domain expansion and 6 eyes pretty well. But I don't know if it's going to be that easy, the 6 eyes is something that is pretty much unique to his family. Yes, Yuta and Gojo are kind of like distant cousins, so maybe there is some affinity there, but I don't know, it's so rough to think about. And Yuta only has 5 minutes to beat Sukuna, and after that 5 minutes pass, brother, what's going to happen? He doesn't know. Will Yuta die? Most likely. Will Gojo come back? I don't know. And if you're wondering why I'm mentioning Gojo coming back, it's because we saw back during Shibuya when Gojo first saw Suguru, first saw Suguru, first saw Kenjaku, he was like, hey, Suguru, what the hell are you doing letting this guy have your body? And then what did Suguru do? From the dead, you know, he's been dead for like 2 years by this point. He comes back and he starts choking himself out. And it's like, dude, Gojo just died an hour ago, right? If Yuta is on the verge of death, or, you know, if this body needs assistance, I could see there being an instance where Gojo comes back for a second and helps them take down Sukuna. But then again, I'm not sure though, because while I would love to see Yuta and Gojo finish this battle, because this is like a revenge match, I do still think that Sukuna is going to go down to Yuji. Like, I don't think this is going to have a happy ending. But hey, then again, this isn't exactly a 1v1, right? Like when Gojo and Sukuna first fought, they were in the city by themselves. This time around, Todo is nearby. You know, he can easily just bum, 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 and then you can switch places. Like, Todo could easily do that. Yuji is right on the sidelines ready to attack as well. Like, this isn't, in my opinion, going to be a straight 1v1. In terms of domain clashes, it will. You know, I highly doubt Yuji or Todo are going to do anything about that. Maybe they do. Not too sure, but during the domain clash, I think that is where Gojo-Yuta will shine. But outside of that, once that breaks down, I think that we're going to see another crazy beatdown, which is going to be pretty cool. I don't know why I'm envisioning this right now, but I'm really hoping we get like a father and son Hamehameha, you know, like I would love to see, you know, Gojo just come back for a brief second and talk to Yuta for a little bit, give him some pointers on how to use the body, and then hit that guy with the hollow purple. Of course, that is all fan fiction, but hey, we have seen, like I said, an instance where Suguru came back from the dead for a brief second to choke out Kenjaku. So Gojo coming back for another second, wouldn't be super surprised. You know, going back to Gojo for a second, because we do see him in the flashback, we do more or less get confirmation that Gojo is the one who took down the higher ups of Jujutsu Society, which is great, right? If anybody got to have a free swing at them, I'm glad it's Gojo, because he's talked about how he wants to kill them beforehand, and now it looks like he finally got his wish fulfilled, right? Even though Gojo couldn't kill Sukuna, at least he killed those nameless, faceless bums. Speaking of deaths, though, I'm glad Kenjaku's death got utilized in some sort of fashion. Yeah, I'm still a little bit underwhelmed at how he went out. You know, the fight against Takabo was great, but Yuta coming in and just, you know, one-shotting him effectively still kind of feels weird. But now I'm wondering if this all is a part of his plan, which, hear me out, I know that sounds a little bit insane, but Yuta eating Kenjaku, or I guess Rika eating Kenjaku to copy his technique, I do wonder if Kenjaku maybe thought of that. Because we have to remember that one of Kenjaku's abilities was to create cursed objects, and then he has unsuspecting people ingest them. So I'm wondering if he wanted to get eaten out by Yuta. Yeah, of course, that is like a harebrained theory, but if Kenjaku were to come back in any sort of fashion, I could see it being in some weird Orochimaru way, where he's like, I wanted to get eaten all along, so I can come back in a different body. Probably not. But yeah, we get to see the aftermath of Yuta's body, by the way. Turns out he was fully cut in half by Sukuna, and he only had a limited amount of time before he could actually transfer into Gojo's body, and thanks to Shoko in the infirmary, he was able to do just that. It also turns out that Shoko, on the side, has been stitching up Gojo's body this entire time. While she did perfectly stitch up Gojo, Yuta, once he entered his body, still had to unleash a massive amount of RCT just to keep that body intact and functioning, which in my opinion is pretty nice to hear. I don't know why, but I love these small details, right? It makes it feel like Gege actually thought this out well in advance, and quite honestly, I think he did think this through well ahead of time. I think this was always the game plan, because there's a lot of scenes we can look back at now and we're like, oh, like that could have been foreshadowing Yuta taking over Gojo. Oh, you know, I forgot what it was. There was another line back in Shibuya where Kenjaku looked at Yuta and he's like, hey, you'll never be Gojo. And then now here he is actually as Gojo, right? Like there's a lot of weird things about this that makes it feel weird, but also just right. So right now, though, I want to pass the question back to you guys. What do you think is going to happen to Yuta after the 5 minutes are up? I think he will actually die, because I can't imagine Yuta surviving in Gojo's body for the rest of the series, right? Like imagine if everything works out perfectly, right? Yuta wins, he beats Sukuna, and then he's like, hey guys, I'm Gojo now, right? Like that wouldn't make any sense. So I do think he is either going to die, or somehow go back into his original body. We do know that Shoko has his body right now, so there is a chance that she could be stitching him up, but I'm not too sure because they had to cut his brain out, so maybe not. You know, like, it's so weird. But then again, Kenjaku, right? We're copying Kenjaku's ability. His ability was to put his brain into other people. But then again, Yuta's, it does have a time limit. I don't know. I guess we are losing Yuta here, man. Which is kind of crazy for me to come to terms with, because I actually thought he would survive until the end of the series. I guess another possibility would be that Gojo comes back after the 5 minutes are up. Maybe Yuta's consciousness and spirit fades away, and then Gojo, now that his body is repaired, just fully comes back, since, you know, there's no one inhabiting the body. I don't know, dude. You know, anything can happen at this point. You know, we're bringing Yuta into Gojo's body. Like, how more crazy can this actually get? Also, shoutouts to Amai. Just like how his name would imply, has a sweet related curse technique where he can, I forgot what it was, like he can intake sugar and then output sugar in certain areas. Yeah, it's a really niche ability. I don't know why the hell he was even in this competition in the first place. But yeah, he's here. He's helping Shoko by diverting sugar, and honestly, massive W, I guess. I didn't think he would come back into play, but you know, it shows that any and every curse technique can be useful in one way or another. But yeah, hey, with that being said, that is all I have for today. You know, just quick thoughts here. We'll love to hear what you guys think about this chapter. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Because I know a lot of people are pretty vitriolic about this one. But hey, I'll catch you guys later. I would love to hear all your thoughts down below. Peace out.